Happy Friday night, PhinManiacs listeners, and always joining on this podcast is really your two football gurus, Brandon Liguori, Matthew Morin. Matthew, First, I'm going to ask you, how is everything going? Because I don't even really want to talk about this game, but we know we have to.
Yeah, we got to get through it, right? We got to talk about the bad as much as we talk about the good, right? Yeah, so last Sunday was all bad.
Goodness.
All bad.
I mean, the Dolphins this past Sunday losing 35-0. Matt Collins really said that's kind of a score you lose in Madden. It was really just flat out embarrassing from the get-go. Devin Singletary putting the Bills up early 7-0. Miami just had absolutely nothing going. I mean, you can blame this game on Brian Flores. You can blame this game on Tua Tagovailoa, who, by the way, did not even finish the game, was sacked 2 times. On the first 3 offensive plays from scrimmage, was taken out.
Yeah.
I believe it was a 4th down throw. A.J. Epinesa, who completely blew by right tackle Jesse Davis. Listen, I'm not going to throw shade at him, but really that everyone on the offensive line, Brian Flores always talks about putting the best 5 guys out there to make this offensive line look great. But that offensive line, it was like a circus.
Oh, man. Yeah, you hit it right on the head. And 2 things. First one, I tweeted out before that game that, today the Dolphins are playing meaningful football on a Sunday. And, we can get used to this, right? And it's from the first snap, it's just you get put back in your place as a Dolphins fan, right? It's just reality comes in. It's like, no, we're not ready for all that yet. So, second thing, on the all-22 on that play where Epinesa came and hit Tua, you could literally see Robert Hunt point to Epinesa, telling Jesse Davis to pick up the blitz. He just ignores it. It's a fact state of affairs.
Between the Miami Hurricanes falling 38-17 to Michigan
man.
State.
You had to do it to me.
And then 24 hours later, the Dolphins falling 35-0. I mean, talk about as bizarre of a weekend as it got. But really, Matthew, what did you see? Jacoby Brissett then comes in. He is a veteran. He has played for the Indianapolis Colts and under Bill Belichick. But now with Tua Tagovailoa ruled out this upcoming Sunday, first, what did you see from Brissett in that game this past Sunday? And really, what worries you now that the Dolphins are going to have to start Brissett again this upcoming Sunday?
I saw composure from Brissett. The rare instance is that he did have time. He was able to go through his reads and make the right throw. You could tell he's a veteran. He knows what he's doing out there. He knows how to read coverage. But at the end of the day, that offensive line, it's going to be hard for anyone to line up behind it, nonetheless, Tua or Brissett. So, Miami's really got to look themselves in the mirror, especially the people in that room, and they've got to find something because the way it's looking right now is it's not good.
And we really just talked about the offensive line. Can we talk about how many times a Miami Dolphins wide receiver dropped the football? I mean, this past Sunday, Devontae Parker dropping what would have been a touchdown. Albert Wilson, who I said it about maybe 5 or 10 times, I was at pretty much every training camp practice, and the guy caught pretty much everything. I believe he had 3 targets, and all 3 were just complete, utterly dropped. What did you see? And really, how does that make you feel from a fan person? I mean, we obviously we're not on the football field, obviously playing, but from a media perspective like us, when you see these drop passes that really should be touchdowns or even first downs, that has to make your mind just go nuts, right?
Well, it's just disappointing to see. And my first reaction to it as a fan and writing for PhinManiacs, like I look at it and I'm like, okay, Albert's a pro. We've seen him do it before. Yes, he's had a little bit of a drop problem, but you expect him to overcome it. But it's just a second drop and a third drop. That's what makes you just want to pull your hair out. You're like, what's going on here? So, I think it was just a forgetful game for every unit on that team. The defense had their moments. X got a takeaway, which is, like normal at this point, right? So, everyone's got to reset.
Every single penny.
Every single penny. Every single one.
Well, I'm glad you did touch on the defense because that probably was the only positive takeaway from this 35-point loss. The defense forcing turnovers, that ferocious defense that Matt we always talk about. What did you see from the forced fumble, and then tell me what did you see on Xavier Howard's pick?
No, I saw the same defense that we've been accustomed to when Flores came in. Just very aggressive. All following to the ball and making something happen, and that's what this defense is predicated on. That's what they do. That's their identity, and they're continuing it. Nonetheless, in a 35-0 loss, they still make plays and they still make their presence felt. So, Buffalo got the best of us, and I think the defense was the only reason we didn't get 50 dropped on us. Buffalo's a pretty good team, and rightfully so.
Well, I mean, really, and Adam Beasley, who covers the football for Pro Football Network, pretty much said it. That game this past Sunday, if that didn't really show you the difference between how high up Buffalo is compared to Miami, you look at the last two games that these two teams played, 56-26 Buffalo victory in Week 17 of last year. Then now come Week 2, 35-0. The Dolphins have only scored 26 points in their last two games. And really, since Brian Flores was hired in 2019 to be the head coach of this football team, he's still winless. And, they always talk about division games being counted as two victories. I mean, now you got to you take that tape and you have to just burn it, because here comes a red-hot Las Vegas team, a team that's really started the season 2-0. Two games that a lot of football experts thought they were going to lose. Week 1, home versus Baltimore. We know how that game fell out. Then you go to Pittsburgh and you pretty much win by 9 points. It really felt like they even won by a lot more. And we even talked about it before we went live. Derek Carr, cornerback out of Fresno State, playing really the best football of his life right now. Are you worried that Miami's probably going to fall to 1-2?
It's possible. Miami's going into that game with a lot to play for. Obviously, Vegas is on a good roll, and they've started the season off in a way that a lot of people didn't expect them to. I didn't pick them to beat Baltimore. I certainly didn't pick them to beat Pittsburgh. So they've been a pleasant surprise. I'm happy for John Gruden. I'm happy for Derek Carr. Derek Carr has always been a consummate professional, so it's good to see. But I don't know. Vegas has these little spurts every couple of years, and it just fizzles out. So I got to see it for a little bit longer. That sounds funny coming from a Dolphins fan, but it is what it is. I have to call
of course.
Spade a spade. So
well, then no, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, just to touch on what I think Miami needs to do to win this game. I want to get your thoughts on this too. We have to stop the run game. Either way, if Jacobs is playing or not, they've shown that they can have a decent running attack. They were able to run the ball in Baltimore. They were able to do it to Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, and that's a title defense. That's a Super Bowl defense too. So what do you think we need to do to win that game?
Well, really, number one, and there's so many storylines really to touch on this game, because remember, last year the Dolphins, they were playing the same team in Allegiant Stadium, but remember, it was an empty Allegiant Stadium. And I think really number one is you have to be focused. There's going to be probably about 85,000. I don't really know the exact capacity of that brand new Allegiant Stadium, but there's definitely going to be loud fans throughout the game. So if you're Jacoby Brissett, there's probably going to be some plays where he's going to have to audible out of it, and he's going to have to call his own play at the line of scrimmage, because whatever the co-offensive coordinators are giving him, and quarterbacks coach Charlie Fry, if you're reading that Raiders front seven, they're a ferocious front seven. Max Crosby, and also keep in mind on the offensive side of the football, my number one key really is who's going to stop Derek Carr. Who's going to stop the heck out of Darren Waller, their tight end, and who's going to stop and former Alabama wideout in Henry Ruggs? We always laugh at when we speak about the Las Vegas Raiders, but we forget to mention that they have a lot of scary offensive players. If you're the Miami Dolphins, this defense has forced turnovers in their first two games. You're going to have to do it again, and not only are you going to have to force turnovers, Matt, you're going to have to capitalize, because I said this in a tweet last Sunday that really pissed me off. Dolphins forcing 2 turnovers on the defensive side. They scored 0 points. They scored 0 points in total, obviously. So they didn't even score points forcing turnovers. Forcing those 2 turnovers, that has to be a key. You do such a great job turning the ball over and getting the ball back, especially in good field position, but you have to just capitalize on these turnovers.
Right, that's backbreaking for a defense, right? You go and get the ball back for your offense in their territory, in opposition territory, I should say, and you come away with nothing, not even a field goal. So that just you're on the sideline, and I'm pretty positive that some of those players are probably like, what are we doing? You know, we're doing our job perfectly, and offense can't come through. So Miami has to take the ball away, and they've got to find a way to do something with it, because you can get takeaways all day long. If it's not a pick six or a fumble take back, the offense has to do something with it. So Miami's got to find a way. I still have some belief in Godsey and Stutzel and Fry. I think they've kind of been hit with, they've been hit head on, and it's been a lot. But I think they need to sit down and kind of just reset and get this offensive system where we want to see it.
So what I wanted to ask you, Matt, because it was an obvious issue this past Sunday, as we know, Tua Tagovailoa did not finish the game. Are you going to be surprised come Sunday afternoon, maybe around 2:45, 3 o'clock, when one of the Miami Dolphins beat writers reports that there's been a major change on the offensive line, whether that's maybe moving Jesse Davis from right tackle to maybe left guard or left tackle? Because we obviously know right now Michael Dieter is the proven center. But when you take a look now, they were saying that maybe Liam Eichenberg, the rookie from Notre Dame, he's possibly going to be either moving to Jesse Davis's spot at right tackle or maybe benching Solomon Kinley for Liam Eichenberg. So would it really surprise you if we see a surprising change like that before the 4:05 kickoff?
It wouldn't shock me. I think Flores has proved that he's a coach that will move pieces around to give himself the best chance for his team to win. And that's how every coach in the NFL should be. There shouldn't be any favoritism, especially on the offensive line or the defensive line, anywhere in the trenches. That's number one. And you've got to make sure that there's no bias there. So it wouldn't shock me. I'm a big advocate of giving Eichenberg a shot. That kid didn't give up a sack in college. Granted, it's college, and he played at Notre Dame, which I have my own feelings towards Notre Dame. But he's a really great prospect. Like, it wouldn't hurt to see something else other than Davis. Because Davis, I mean, for lack of a better phrase, he's just been god-awful. We have to be honest with ourselves as fans and as contributors to the PhinManiacs. Like, Davis, we got to be transparent about how he's played. So it wouldn't shock me. I would like to see Eichenberg, actually. I really would.
So, Jalen Waddle, really going back to Sunday's third. I know I really don't want to talk about that game, but we just have to. That 35-0 loss. Jalen Waddle was another positive factor. I mean, really, we did touch on the defense forcing 2 turnovers. That was one positive. But really, Jalen Waddle, I mean, this kid, 2 games into his NFL career, he's looking like a legit slot receiver / wideout for the Miami Dolphins.
No, he's looking as advertised. Same thing, the same kind of angle I took in my article. Same thing. He's as advertised. He can stretch the field. He can make a defense react to everything he's doing, whether that's a motion or any route he's running. Obviously, he is a distraction, and for good reason. His speed is just immeasurable. And he had that one moment with the muff punt.
The muff punt.
He got a little bit nervous. That was his first real NFL punt return. He had the one in preseason, but that doesn't really count. I think he heard the footsteps and he kind of freaked a little bit, but he's got it out of the way. I got faith in Waddle. He's really exciting. I want to see where he goes for sure.
So really, before we touch on some just quick news on the Florida Gators football, do you see Miami, quote unquote, upsetting the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday, or give me just a quick score prediction as to how you see that game playing out?
I see a slow game at first. I think it's going to be a defensive kind of struggle. I wouldn't shock me if Carr comes out and struggles. I think Miami's going to throw a lot of things at him, and we're going to we got nothing to lose. We're going to play hard. So I say close game. I want to say I'm kind of feeling like a 23-20 type of game. Picks up in the second half. I'm leaning towards Vegas because the offense is just too shaky for me to put that much faith in them. I got to see more from the run game. I got to see more in every phase of offensive football from this team. So, they've got to make plays. They've got to have big plays on offense. It feels like we haven't had any since the first week. And even those became very few and far between. So same thing before. Fry and Godsey and Stutzel, they gotta take chances. Take your chances. Know what you have on the offensive line and still take your chances. It's okay. All the fans would rather us go out firing and swinging than to just do this conservative.
Done. Yep. Well, really, one point, and I'm glad I'm just now remembering it. Will Fuller will make his Dolphins debut this upcoming Sunday. So you're adding now Jalen Waddle, Devontae Parker, Albert Wilson, even Preston Williams, and now you factor in Will Fuller, and don't forget, tight end Gesicki. Let's hope that maybe Jacoby Brissett can get Gesicki and Will Fuller involved, because we always talk about how speedy this wideout group is. Well, let's see if it can actually be on display this upcoming Sunday. I believe the latest line had Las Vegas -4. So there may be so even the odds makers are kind of projecting really that this is going to be a field goal like game. I honestly see maybe the Dolphins could pull this one out. Whichever team wins, it's going to be between that line, that maybe 1 to 4 point range. It really would not surprise me if the Dolphins did pull out a victory. Hey, maybe you remember what happened the last time the Dolphins hit Vegas when Ryan Fitzpatrick was grabbed for a face mask in the closing seconds. Maybe that happens, and maybe we send on Jason Sanders for another game-winning field goal attempt.
I may be in the minority, but that was one of the most unenjoyable wins as a Dolphins fan. I didn't enjoy that game at all. It was so
really. I mean, really, just the whole entire 2020 season, really, just the entire 2020 season playing on the road without fans. It just seemed weird. But before we close on tonight's show, we have to speak about the Florida Gators, because a lot of experts wrote off my Florida Gators. You were actually one of the very few people who did say Florida would keep this game close. So I do give you props for that.
Yes.
But what did you see, Matt? Alabama jumping out to a quick 21-3 lead. It was played in Gainesville in the Swamp, 90,000 fans. It was probably, I think, I saw a tweet from one of the writers. It was the largest crowd at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium since the 2015 game versus Florida State. That Florida State-Florida, that was a rivalry. You watch college football closely, you do know that. But really, Alabama jumping out to a 21-3 lead. What was going on in your head? Because I can tell you right now, over on my end, I was kind of, shaking. I was kind of panicking. I didn't think Florida was going to lose by 2 points. I thought when they were falling behind by 18 early, I thought it was lights out from there.
I was thinking the same thing. I've seen that movie. Well, we've all seen that movie how many times? Bama goes up by 2 or 3 touchdowns, and it's just practice from then on in. It's a total just dismantling. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, I haven't seen Florida's mental toughness, so I wouldn't be shocked if they just lay down here. But they surprised me. I think they showed what a lot of teams can't show versus Alabama, which is they were able to match the physicality in the trenches. And that's what allowed them to get back in the game. And that's huge. A lot of programs in this country can't do that. It's been shown for how long now? 10, 15 years. So I was proud of Florida. I don't like Florida. I'm a Miami fan, but it was good to see them stand up to Bama and give it a real shot, because I was sitting there. I think it was the fourth quarter. It was a 3-point game, no?
Yeah,
something like that.
Well, I was like, what it was. So we lost 31-29, right? But if you go back to, I want to say late, I don't know if it was late in the second quarter or late in the third, our kicker misses an extra point. Had he would have made that extra point and you scored that late touchdown,
then you have a chance.
You don't have to go for a 2, because that 2-point conversion, I was like, man, what in the world are they? I mean, I don't know. It obviously looked like a simple RPO, but I don't know what Emory Jones was thinking on the play. But your kicker makes that extra point. We're in overtime 31-31 against the number 1 ranked team in college football.
Yeah, I mean, they're not happy with the loss, but, it's encouraging. They should build off of it. It's something that sets the tone for a program. You're not going to go and flaunt that to a recruit, but you're going to show them, hey, we're not that far off from the big dogs. So come and join us and play more. So, Florida's on the right track. It pains me to say this because I'm a Miami fan and we're just going in the opposite direction.
Well, it's funny. I'm literally going to throw a true or false question. In about 30 seconds, I'm going to be throwing a true or false question at you. And and I need your full honest opinion on it. You can't have any bias.
I got you. Hit me.
So, true or false? And again, this is just just a full man-to-man conversation. I'm a diehard Florida Gators fan. I know you're a diehard Miami Hurricanes fan. Manny Diaz remains as the head coach at the end of the 2021 regular season. True or
it would take.
And why?
I mean, I know some things about what's going on inside that program, and it would take a lot for him to get fired mid-season. But if you start sprinkling in some more embarrassing losses, I wouldn't rule out anything, because that board of trustees is not, the most patient kind. So I'm going to say true. I think he sticks. I think he finishes the season. I hope there's a move. I hope that they need to realize what's going on. Yeah, there'll be a move. It's just it's a matter of when, in my opinion. So I'll give him the end of the season. I think he's going to be the coach by the end of the season.
All right. So before we wrap up tonight's show, Matt, give us your outlook on how your weekend's going to be going. Where are you going to be watching tomorrow's games? Where are you going to be watching the Dolphins and Raiders game this upcoming Sunday afternoon as well?
Oh man, there's a lot of good games this weekend. Who's on Sunday night? It's Bucks and Rams, no?
Is the Packers and 49ers in San Francisco.
When's Bucks and Rams? I'm looking
Bucks and Rams is 4:25 on Sunday, which really frustrates me because we play 20 minutes before that game kicks off. So it's like I'm gonna have to put one laptop here, the TV there, So
yeah, no, I think I'm definitely gonna go the same route and watch both at the same time, because I can't miss.
We definitely have to hit one of the sports bars soon too, and we definitely have to catch these games.
Yeah.
Bro, I literally go to all these sports bars, man. They have like 75, 80 TVs. Literally every game that you could possibly dream of.
Oh yeah, you can catch all the action. It's great for fantasy too. Even though I'm not even playing fantasy this year, but yeah, man. There's a lot of good games this weekend, college and pro. So I'm looking forward to it. Always, anytime I have, I'm gonna sit down and watch football. That's just a given, right?
Yeah, of course, man. Well, the two football gurus are officially going to be signing off. As always, Matthew Morin, thank you very much. This show's great. And I'm honestly just looking forward to our next show on next Friday night. Be well.
Yeah, man. I'm enjoying it. Fins up, man. For
Matthew Morin, Brandon Liguori, as always, fins up. And make sure to tune in this upcoming Sunday. The Miami Dolphins, Raiders, your Dolphins look to improve. It can't get any worse than scoring 0 points, right?
No, it cannot. Hopefully. We'll see.
Enjoy your football weekend, folks.